Hello there, everyone. Keith Schweigert here from LankSports.com with your 2-minute drill for Friday night's Lancaster-Lebanon League Section 1 showdown between Reading and Warwick, which will kick off at 7 p.m. in Reading's Albright College. Red Knights should be riding an emotional high coming into this one. They're coming off their biggest win in years. Last week they knocked off Section 1 title contender Penn Manor 32-27, scoring the game-winning touchdown with just 25 seconds left on the clock. It was a really good game. Reading had a big lead early. They let Penn Manor come back and take a 1-point lead, but then they got the ball with 1:41 left in the game and marched 75 yards down the field for the winning touchdown. That win boosted their record to 2-3 overall and 1-1 in section play. Interestingly, both of their wins were pretty big upsets. They also knocked off Governor Mifflin, their Berks County neighbor, 13-0 in week 3. That at the time was also termed to be a huge surprise and a big upset. Meanwhile, Warwick's coming in with a 3-2 overall record. They're 1-1 in section play, and they're probably still smarting a little bit from last week when they got knocked off by Manheim Township, and they were really dominated in that game from start to finish. This is a game that Warwick really has to have. They want to build some momentum for later on in the season. In the final 3 weeks, they bump into Penn Manor, Hempfield, and Wilson back to back to back. They have to start getting some momentum going because if they want to stay in the district playoff contention, in the chase for the district playoffs, they're going to need to stop losing. Basically, they're already at 3-2. I don't think a record worse than 7-3 is going to allow them to get in. Big question about this game is Reading. Was last week's upset of Penn Manor a fluke, or was it a sign that the Red Knights are finally turning things around after struggling for the last 3 years? Keep in mind, last season they were one of the most improved teams down the stretch under Preston McKnight, and they're showing that they're taking the next step forward. So you have to ask, is this Reading team for real? They have talent and speed to spare, especially on offense. They have a good quarterback in Freddie Pena. Jordan Stewart, the running back, was the hero in last week's game. He had 3 touchdowns, 191 yards rushing. So those two guys are the ones that Penn Manor, or that Warwick, is going to have to key on. As for Warwick, they might not be as flashy on offense, but they get the job done. They average 151 yards per game on the ground and 149 through the air, so they can do it to you either way. It's hard to key on one thing to stop them. Reading struggled a bit on defense this year, so that's a concern. With all that in mind, I'm taking Warwick in this one. I think this is a must-win game for them. They're going to come in with that kind of attitude, and I think they'll pull it out, but it's going to be close. We'll see what happens on Friday.